Too many content creators spend months trying to grow an audience and a following to launch an offer only to find that nobody actually wants to buy. So in this guide, we'll go through how to grow an audience of people who actually want to buy, as opposed to just a large following who enjoys your content every once in a while. We'll go through the best platform to start with and use, more importantly, the type of content that attracts buyers, not just random followers, and of course, how you can take that content and turn it into automated income streams with simple digital products. Hey, I'm Jason, faith-based entrepreneur. Timestamps and resources below, including a link to today's sponsor, Go High Level. When you check them out free for 30 days, you also get access to our entire system, private community, and workflow calls to launching automated income streams using digital products, courses, and even consulting. More on that when we get to step number 4. Now, of course, the first thing I thought would be fun is if I went over to GPT and asked it, what's the best way to find your first 10 buyers? And what I got back was a bunch of spam that definitely does not work. So first, it said you should go join a bunch of Reddit and Facebook groups and private DM people. We've all received those. Those are no fun, and they're clearly self-promotion. The next one was just pure MLM vibes with a bunch of ask your family and friends to buy your new product and service. Although most of us who are just starting, you probably don't want to promote it to your family and friends, and they're probably not going to care much about it anyway. And then, of course, it said just go over to Creative Market or Etsy, spend all this time and effort trying to rank your products there. Good luck. And of course, the classical, just post great content and people find you and buy from you. That actually doesn't work. In step number 2, we'll talk about micro-roadblocks and why that is actually the way to attract buyers, not just posting valuable content, whatever that means is pretty subjective. And of course, you always have the paid ads route, which is a great way to burn a lot of money fast. So if none of these ideas are good, then what is the best way to start attracting buyers? Well, we want something that's going to give us leverage over time and allow us to not only find our buyers, but test our ideas for our products and services before we spend a bunch of time creating our products and services. And so that's where creating what I like to call your attract engine comes in. And this is the hardest part for new creators, but it simply means choosing one platform to start. There's no such thing as choosing the wrong platform. There is, however, such thing as choosing too many platforms. So you need to choose one and plant your flag. Now, there's a very simple way to choose which platform you should start with if you haven't already, and that's simply based upon your time, right? Because LinkedIn, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, LinkedIn, they're all going to allow you to grow an audience of buyers because it's actually the type of content you make that will make or break your business and your automated income as a content creator, not choosing the wrong platform. And what's cool is once you've chosen a platform and you find success on it, then you can go on to the next one. But every successful solo creator and solopreneur starts with one platform and they really go all in and focus on it. So if you only have 5 to 10 hours a week, LinkedIn and X is going to be your bread and butter, and you'll actually see in step number 4 why it's an advantage over something like YouTube that's going to take at least 20 hours a week. Now, sure, there's some other platforms, but I think those are the best 3 to start with. So if you got 20 hours, YouTube is awesome. It's going to take a while, but it's really cool. And if you're at 5 to 10 hours a week, then probably LinkedIn and X, and you'll see in step number 4, again, why it's so important. Because irrespective of what platform you choose, you need to make sure that you have enough time to devote to consistently creating content for it. And this is why I like to call it your attract engine, because your content is the fuel that's going to bring in potential buyers and, of course, grow your audience and get that oh so important snowball effect where in 6 or 9 months time, you schedule your post and it goes out to thousands of people as opposed to the 10 or 12 it goes out to right now. So I'll leave a link in the cards in the description to a full-blown guide that goes through how to actually create great content for LinkedIn and X. We did a live stream series. But what's most important with whatever platform you choose is making sure that you create content that attracts buyers and doesn't just attract followers and engagement. And this is making content around something called micro-roadblocks. This is really important to making sure that your content actually brings in buyers. And there's a simple 5-step process to go through to figure out what the heck these micro roadblocks are. Because as we create our content, we want it to not only stand out from all the AI slop that our audience is scrolling through, but when you create content around a micro roadblock, all of a sudden someone's scrolling, they read your post or watch your video and they go, oh, this person actually understands me. And once we have that aha moment, we have that connection with people, it's a lot easier to sell to them. And those people who don't have that aha moment, you're not going to be able to sell to them, right? Because products and services solve problems and deliver results. But that'll make a lot more sense in step number 4. So let's jump into the 5 steps that you need to go through to find these micro roadblocks, what you'll build your content strategy around. So the very first step is very simple. Think about your audience and the top 5 things they want to achieve in life. So whether you're in fitness or relationships, investing, or how to make money online, whatever your niche is, think of the top 5 results your audience wants to achieve. Cool. Then pick one of those results. So as an example for me, one of the results I would pick is how to create digital products, right? So that would be something that my audience seemingly cares about. Then when you pick one of those results, you're going to want to list out, 7 to 12 steps that you think someone needs to go through to get that result that they want. So if I'm thinking of digital products, I'll list out the 7 or 12 steps I think someone needs to go through to create and sell a digital product. You don't have to overthink this. I know this is a lot, but you'll see how this plays out into content in a moment. Then out of those 7 to 12 steps, choose one that you're most excited about. Pretty much you just say, I think I'd want to talk about this one. Cool. Then looking at that specific step, what are the 3 biggest problems, roadblocks, headaches, unenjoyable things about completing that step? And those become your micro roadblocks. And that's what you start creating content on. You see, when you go through this process of thinking about what do people actually want to achieve, what are the different steps that they're probably going through, and then what are the actual roadblocks they're hitting, not just, oh, it's really hard to, optimize your dating profile, or, oh, it's really hard to stick to your macros. Well, yeah, everybody knows that. But when you really drill down and you're able to start speaking to specific problems, roadblocks, experiences, pain points that your audience members are actually facing as they're trying to be successful, you're going to stand out as someone who actually understands them and actually gets them. And more importantly, the people that connect with those micro types of roadblocks are the ones that are most likely to buy. So these posts aren't necessarily always going to get the most engagement and the most following, but the engagement and following they do get actually matters when it comes to your bottom line. That is actually making sales, because these are people that have roadblocks and issues that you can speak to in your content. They read that content, they go, oh, this person gets me, and they're much more likely to be engaged, and it sets you up for in a much better position to find your first 10 buyers. And of course, the next question is, all right, cool, you're making content that actually attracts buyers. You can always go through that process again to find other micro roadblocks to create content around. The question becomes, what do we sell? Well, we have 2 options. We can, of course, sell other people's products and services as an affiliate. And of course, that's a whole nother strategy. Or we can start creating our own products and services to sell that address those results that you listed out. Because if you get engagement on those micro roadblock posts, that lets you know there's an audience there. There's a set of problems and results that people actually care about. And so now we can go create a product to serve those people that are already there. It's pretty cool, because if the posts don't do well, then guess what? Try some other micro roadblocks and don't create products around those posts that aren't doing well. And so that's one of the huge advantages of using LinkedIn and X, because you can create a lot of content very quickly, and you can quickly see which one of these micro roadblock posts are doing well and which ones aren't. And that's where you start creating something called an enrolling offer. And so this is where you can create a simple $5 to $25 offer. This can be anything from a simple Google Sheet all the way up to a 1-hour workshop. You definitely do not want to overthink this, and it shouldn't take you more than a couple hours to create. So I'll leave a link in the cards and the description to a 30-day challenge playlist where we actually go through how to generate these specific types of offers and how to actually build one in literally an hour. one of the streams, I went through and showed how to go from start to finish, building a $495 offer. I think it was an email template or something in less than 60 minutes. And so what's really cool with this strategy is you're creating content that attracts people who are interested in buying via micro roadblocks. And then you can create these mini offers to actually sell to them. If you have something to sell, how do we actually get those first 10 buyers? How do we actually promote this to our audience of presumably warm buyers now? So let's get to the part where a lot of content creators get tripped up, the promotion post part, right? It's so easy to come across overly salesy. And so to save us some time, I worked with GPT on these quite a bit to come up with some simple phrases you can use inside of your posts when you have a new offer to launch. And this is great if you are creating something for the first time, especially if this is your first offer. You do not need to wait to promote something. So if you have something now you want to promote, go ahead and promote it. There's no arbitrary rule like, oh, you need to post for 6 or 9 months before you start selling stuff. No, you're a content creator, makes you a business owner. Start selling stuff now. That's what businesses do. We sell products or services to improve people's lives. So why would you wait to improve people's lives? Let's try and help people now. So here's an example of how you could frame, like, let's say a $7 PDF. I'm looking for 5 innovators to beta test my new $7 PDF that helps audience solve problem. Obviously, fill in the blank with your own info. Early bird access, plus I'll hop on a quick call to walk you through it all and hear your feedback. Drop a wave sign, wave emoji in the comments if you want the link. And when we get to step number 5 here, I'll show you how you can actually automate the delivery of this. It's really cool. But as you can see with this simple example, and of course some others, you pretty much just position your first offer as, hey, I made this cool thing. I think it's going to be valuable. Comment if you want it, right? You're not making this long-winded post of, oh, I was so broke and then I found this $5 template and now I'm a millionaire, right? Like we've seen, I'm being hyperbolic. Well, we've seen those types of posts and you just roll your eyes and you go, okay, yeah, sure, $27 and you're going to build my entire business for me. Like, come on. We all know that's not true. So when you've actually been creating content that speaks to those micro roadblocks, you've already built a meaningful relationship with people who are actively trying to improve their lives. And so they're much more likely to engage with you and want to purchase your products and services versus creating kind of that random kind of surface level content that doesn't really speak to specific roadblocks, where you're just going to have a list of a lot of people who are kind of engaged, but they don't actually take action. And so this works because you're creating the right type of content to actually attract buyers. Now, of course, when it comes to actually delivering this, that's a whole nother headache, right? And that's actually where today's sponsor, Go High Level, comes in. So Go High Level is an all-in-one marketing platform to help you with scheduling your social media content, growing your email list, sending emails, some crazy cool automations I'll speak to in a moment. And of course, it allows you to create a full-blown membership site where you can deliver all of your digital products and courses or work with your clients one-on-one. So link in the cards and the description to a free 30-day trial, along with a ton of bonuses to help you get up and running as quickly as possible. All of our sales funnel templates, along with a bunch of custom GPTs, and of course, private community access to get any of your questions answered as you start creating your own automated income stream. So thank you to Go High Level for sponsoring. Link in the cards and the description. Now, of course, when it comes to delivering your offer, you don't necessarily have to do a call if you don't want to. It's just a great way to learn more about your audience, and you get some testimonials out of it, which is pretty cool. But when it comes to delivering, you can use something like Go High Level to automatically deliver whatever your template or workshop or PDF is. And because Go High Level offers some advanced automations, you can actually set it up so that if people comment on your Facebook or Instagram posts with the wave emoji or some other catchphrase, you can automatically trigger something called an automation. So Go High Level will actually message those people automatically for you and start those conversations. And you can get really advanced if you want, but pretty much you can set it up so that when someone comments, Go High Level automatically sends them a link to the page. And of course, we're making it clear that this is a paid offer. You don't want to give it away for free. You want people to at least give you a couple bucks so you can get your first 10 buyers, start those engaging conversations, and maybe you get a coaching or client student out of it if that's what you're looking for. And then the coolest part about this entire process is you just repeat it until you have your first 10 sales or until you find a product that works really well. So you just go back to step number 2 and run through the whole step again. And that really is the digital product automated income game. Every time you are testing a new micro offer, you're testing a new result, you're testing a new product to sell to your audience. And every time you test, some will be successful, others nobody will care about. That's okay, because you only spent a little bit of time on the product. And then you can actually start to figure out what types of products and what types of results and roadblocks your audience really cares about, which ones they're willing to pay to solve. And then guess what? You just make bigger products from there. But that's why we always start with a simple $5 product. So thank you so much for watching. Sincerely hope you got some value out of this guide and you have a much better picture of why it's so important to just choose a platform, stick to it, and how to actually create the right type of micro roadblock content so you attract buyers and you can use that as a way to create lots of digital offers. So hit that like button, subscribe for more guides just like this one, and until the next, keep building the business you love.